Creating a survey in Office 365 using Microsoft Forms is simple and easy to do, and it could be a good adjunct to an application or other request management system. Let's go through it. Here we are in Microsoft Office 365. We go to the Waffle, or the app launcher as it's called. We find Forms, open up the Forms tool. The Forms tool opens up. It'll show you any forms that you have already existing. And you can do a new form, a new quiz, and other types of forms if you wish, but we'll go with new form. This is an untitled form, and we're going to call it survey 1. You can enter a description if you like, and then you have a choice to add many different kinds of fields here. And let's put a choice field in to start with and say, were you satisfied with our service? And the suggested options are yes, no, maybe. So we'll put yes and no. It's automatically filled in there. We can add other options to the choices if we want. We can have them make it required and add multiple answers. Make it a drop down, shuffle options, all kinds of different things we can do. So that's the first question. Next question could be a rating. So we want to just do a rating scale. There's different kinds of rating scales. Again, it could have different symbols. It could have star or numbers. It could have different levels if you like. So there's all kinds of interesting ways to set up this survey, and then you can make it required, and you could let me edit that, and I'll show you that how easy it is to edit. Please rate our service. Then that's done, so I add another one. How about a text box? The text box would say add any comments here, and that will be, it could be, you can insert an image or a video if you like in there, or you can go here and make it a long answer. It's a multi-line of text field. And then you can say, okay, that is enough for right now. So let's, that's saved. It's called Survey 1. And now if we go back to our forms, we'll see Survey 1 is right here. Now there's other things you can do with this survey. You can go here and add a theme if you like, colors or fancy backgrounds or just plain colors, this kind of thing. You can also go here and have setting and go to the settings and other options here. So let's look at branching first. So if this means that if they said yes, then go to this other question. Now if you had a lot of questions and they were branching and you made some logic out of it, it would make sense that if they said yes, then go here. You might say, are you using SharePoint in Office 365? Yes, go here. No, go there. There's all kinds of different ways you might want to use this branching capability. It's not highly sophisticated, but it's enough to add a little bit of more sophistication, I guess you call it, to the survey. Now, other options that we're looking at right here, let's go back, were settings. Now settings is kind of interesting because who can fill out the form? Anyone. Record the name, only one response per person. Then there's all kinds of different options here, like shuffle questions, customize your thank you message, send email receipt saying, hey, thank you for filling it out, notify people. So there's a lot of options right there in the settings. And also here's another interesting feature. You can make it multilingual and add in a language like, say, Spanish or whatever here. And if I can find it there, but it's probably under Espanol. There we go. So that could be it would show up in Spanish if the people were using the Spanish Office 365. Now there's no responses yet, so everything's no here. And this form is ready. Now we have this form. What are we going to do with it? How are we going to share it? So the sharing comes up, and only you can say only people in my organization can respond. Anyone with the link can respond. So there's different, you get a QR code for it. You can have an iframe for it. You can send it out as an email. And it just opened up an email right here. You can see, please fill out survey 1. Here's the link. And then it'll send it right out to whomever you want to send it to. But if you want to use it inside a web page, you could do the iframe. You could also use a QR code, and you could also use the hyperlink right here. We'll get into that in part 2 of this video. Right now, what I want to go back to the forms and show you one that was already created called IT Survey with a theme on the background and kind of similar questions to what I just put into that other form. But this one has it's a test environment, a demo. So I put it out there, and now it did get one response. So I want to show the responses and how that works. So we have one response. It took an hour, 1 minute, 28 seconds to complete, active. And you can print summary, create a summary link, sync all responses, all kinds of things you can do. You can hear and see who answered what. So this person answered yes, for example. Of course, you'd have a lot more answers in a normal situation. You can also export it out to Excel. Get rid of that. And let's see, view the results right here. Responder. There, let's go here. Okay, so now we're looking at different people who responded. So, different ways to look at it. Now, the Microsoft Forms Pro version, which is paid for $100 a month for 2,000 responses, gives you much more of an analytical screen here for analyzing the responses, and it's more comprehensive. So if you need that level of sophistication in your analytics, also adds other features in Microsoft Forms Pro. But the out of the box, the one that comes free with Office 365, could be enough to satisfy your questions here. I mean, your need for a survey. So I'll leave it at that. And the next part of this, which I'll add on to this video, is on using this. Now that you've got all this ability to share it in these 4 different ways, how are you going to use it in that way? So stay tuned for the next part of it, which will start right after this. Thank you. Hello, welcome to part 2 of creating a survey in Office 365 using Microsoft Forms. In part 1, we created a survey, a form called Survey 1. Now we're going to talk about how to share this and distribute it to your users and collect responses. Survey 1 is right here. I just clicked it, and there's the share item up here. In share, there is a link option, there's a QR code option, embedded iframe, and an email. These are ways you can distribute it, and I'll show you ways to put the links onto modern and classic UI pages. You can also use the links here, this link up here, on any web page that you want, wherever you want to put it. Same with the iframe. You can use the iframe, which is just some code here, in any web page also if you wanted to do. So we'll go into that in a moment. I'll talk about the QR code, which is a downloadable QR that you can send out to your mobile phone users, and they will use their QR code reader, and that will open up the form in their mobile device. And just to add that the form shows up quite nicely in the mobile device. You can try it out and give it a look. It looks pretty good on the phone or tablet, and users can fill out the survey and submit it right there quite easily. The last option here is email. Email is very easy and simple. You click it, it opens up an email. It has some text filled in with the link, and you can of course put any text you want, send it to whoever you want, copy this, send it to other people. So pretty straightforward to do, distribute it by email. Okay, let's go look at the ones about the link and the iframe here and talk about those. So first we're going to go to a classic UI page. Here's one right here. A lot of stuff on this page already. This is an asset program, one of our asset programs, and has a lot of information on it. I'm just using this as an example. Don't worry about all the other information. The point here is that we can edit this page as you could edit any old style classic UI page inside of SharePoint. And then you can add a web part. The web part you want to add here would be a snippet, a script editor. Where is it? Right here, media and content, the script editor. You add that in here, and now it's going to give you a place to edit the snippet, the script editor. And in here, we're going to paste the iframe code. So let's go look at where the iframe code is for Survey 1. Is here. Here it is. And we can copy this, and we go back to our page and paste it in. And now we can insert it. And when we publish this, so you can already see it here before it's published, but if we stop editing, you can see that it's sitting there. Now, of course, you could do this in different columns and different spacing on the page. This is really a rough cut and a draft, but I just wanted to show you quickly in this video that you can paste it on any classic UI page like that, and you get the survey. And of course, if you're really going to do this in real time for distribution, you'd make sure that this area is large enough to accommodate the survey. In fact, it could be a page with just the survey on it. It doesn't need all this other stuff, but I just wanted to show that so that you could see that it does work inside of the classic UI by using the iframe. Now let's go to the modern UI. Here is a modern UI web page, and we can add it here if we wanted to go into publish, but I think it's better in this case that we go create a new page and add it onto a new page altogether. So let's go to blank, a blank new modern UI page. There it is, and make sure we're in edit mode here. And get rid of this page right here, and here we go. So we're in edit mode, and now we can do a lot with this modern UI page to make it fancy. Now, anyone who's worked with modern UI pages will know that you can add many different kinds of web parts and features to this, hero images, different layouts of the sections, like how you want different sections laid out. You can add many different kinds of web parts right here. There's many options to dress up these pages and design them how you want. There's also a section where in the other where there's a whole bunch of Crow-Canyon web parts you can add. So it's quite a lot you can do with the modern UI, and it's a lot of fun to work with and design it. You'll see here under communication and collaboration, there's the Microsoft Forms. So let's add that form on here. We have Microsoft Forms. We're going to add an existing form. Now we need the form web address, which we can get from the Microsoft Forms page. Notice also there's collect responses, which means you know, what you're going to show to the user who's going to fill out the survey. And then there's also the option to show form results, and show form results is the response page, so they can show a summary of the responses to, say, managers or admins who need to see it. But in this case, we're going to look to distribute this to end users and collect their responses. So let's get this URL for that. We'll go over to Microsoft Forms, and we're in survey 1. So here we go to the link option. We can copy this. Now, just to quickly show you what happens with responses, the same thing. You go here and you get the link here, and then you can distribute it as the show responses URL right here. So again, you could QR code, embed in the iframe, and email it, but we're focused on gathering from the users at this case. So let's go back to here, the forms, the share, the link, copy the link. It's up here in the URLs. The URL's right here, so we're going to copy it. And then we're going to go back to our new page that we're working on. It's this page, I think, yeah. We're going to go here and put it into the form address, paste it, and do OK. And now the form shows up. And when we publish it, we have a page here. Oh, name cannot be blank. Sorry, yeah, I got to put something here. Sorry. IT Survey 1, or whatever we want to call it. And again, this can be fancy with bold and, you know, many different ways of, you know, add images. You know, I'm not going to do all that right now. You know, you can do a lot more with fancying up this page, but let's just leave it like that for now and publish it. And now we have a page called Survey 1, and it's published. And here's the survey. If you gave this, you can help others, you know, saying help others. In other words, share this page with people by putting it in navigation, post it as news on your site, email it out, save as a page template. So basically, here's the address, and you can distribute that out and have the people go to this, find this page, or you can just make it part of a portal that's already there. Survey 1 right here, and then they can make it also in Spanish. And it doesn't change the labels, it does change some of the instructions to Spanish. That's because we chose multilingual in part 1 is what we did there. So then we could fill it out and submit it. So were you satisfied service? Yes. 4 rating, and good documentation, let's say. Documentation, you know, whatever. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Then we submit it. Thanks, your survey was submitted. And now it becomes part of the responses that we can look at. Whether you do it by email, you do it on the classic page, on the modern page, you do it through QR codes. It's going to be many ways to distribute the survey, get the results, and responses are going to show up when you're an admin in here. See, responses 1 just got in here, and it was from, it took me less than a minute, I mean, and it says, yes, I was satisfied with the service. I rated it 4. And I made this comment, good documentation. So it showed up right here. And again, like I said earlier, if I wanted to show these responses in the modern UI page, there's an option to Microsoft Forms web part to add in responses. You know, show responses, not just collect the, you know, to the user, collect the information, but also to show the responses. So quite a lot of interesting things you can do there with that. The survey can also be shown in a portal, such as our employee self-service portal. Let me go over to that here. We have an employee self-service portal that's part of our NITRO Studio. We use it in our applications so that people can create different kinds of requests, leave requests, purchase hardware, or it could be all IT issues or all purchase issues, giving them some information on links and what type of requests were made. This is a way for them to submit a new ticket, view their existing tickets, view a knowledge base. But I also added this survey to it. So you can add the survey to a portal page. You create a page and add a survey just like I did in the Modern UI page earlier. And it shows up, and now by adding a link in the menu in our self-service portal, the survey is able to show up here. So if we go to site settings, which is the settings for this portal site, we have menu links, and this is all part of NITRO Studio, not standard SharePoint, but I want to show you how in this portal it can be added. So I added this new link called survey. I did a new menu item. It's already here, so I'll edit this one to show you. Display text to survey, and the URL is again that link that we were just talking about earlier, that link that can be put into various pages as a way to get to the survey. It's not the iframe, it's not the Microsoft Forum web part, it's just the link in here. And then that's once you have it in the menu item and you save the settings, they'll show up in the menu. Now, this menu is a little long, so it's compressed into this box here, but it could show up here or here, but here it is, survey, and the people can go there and submit their survey through this. Now, there's one other feature that I think is really cool with this also. Let's go over to, and I'll describe it, then I'll show you how you do it. In a request management system or a ticket tracking or issue tracking system, you may want to send a survey out when the ticket is closed. You want to send the survey to the requester so that they can fill it out. And the way you do that is you're going to say basically, let's have a workflow that sends an email out to the end user with the survey link. So it's kind of like an email like this, but the workflow is putting in the requester's name and other information and sending it out. So let's see how that would work in our NITRO Studio and Crow Canyon's workflows, for example. So we have a ticketing system. We have all the tickets. We go to the NITRO Studio, that is where the workflows are configured for this IT Premium help desk, IT Premium site. We go to the workflow tool, which is right here, and then we're going to create a new workflow. Now this is getting in some of the NITRO Studio capabilities and functions, but really it's any workflow you could use to do this, same idea. So we're going to call it send a survey on ticket closed. So then we can go to the tickets list. We can put a description if we want. The when to start, the trigger is when the item is modified. The condition is when, and you can add in a number of conditions, but in this case we're just going to look for request status to change to closed. And what action we're going to do, we're going to set an action here. Once we have the trigger, the condition, now we need to know what action to add. We're going to send an email out, and it's going to be a survey email. You put a description, all that you want. Then you're going to choose a template. Now I created a template earlier called survey template right here. We can take a look at it if you like. And it's very, very simple. Its name is survey template, normal priority, subject, please fill out our survey to rate our service. And here's a link to the form survey one. Here's the link, or you can say whatever you want. Please fill out. We would like to ask your opinion. Please fill out this survey. We can put whatever you want. This survey one, whatever, it really doesn't matter. This is up to you, and there's many things you can add here, but let's just save that. And now we have the survey template. Who's it going to? It's going to the requester. In the column requester right here, it's going to go out to the person, the end user, in other words, who made the request originally. Are you satisfied with our service? It's going to be from, you can put whatever you want here, whatever is appropriate for your situation here. Let's put in what's it going to say? Surveys at Crow Canyon 365. That's the environment I'm in right now.com. Okay, so we do okay. So now we have a send mail action, and we're going to save it. So what we're doing here is we're saying when the item is modified such that the status becomes closed, we're going to send out this survey email to the requester, and that workflow will run when the ticket is closed, and it will send out to the requester when the request status is changed to closed. Now you can have that that workflow kick off for anything you wanted to do there to send out the survey. But it makes the most sense when the ticket is marked resolved or closed or whatever to send it out. So there's various ways to distribute and use these forms in many creative and interesting ways to create surveys, whether you send it directly by email, whether you send it as you make it part of a classic page or some other web page or part of a modern UI, or you use what I just showed you about the workflows in order to make it so that when a status of a ticket changes, it's sent out automatically to the end user, and you have full control over what this form looks like using the forms designer. You can fancy it up and go to town and have a lot of fun making a really interesting survey, and then you have responses that are collected and distributed either directly in this forms or through sending them out by email, having them as a link in a page or QR to a manager or iframe. Same idea right here. So I hope this has been useful and helpful to help show you how to create a survey in Office 365 using Microsoft Forms. Thank you.